So thank you, Scott, anyway, for sharing about you and your experience in working on the Health Concierge program. I think what I want to do is start off just by saying, when we first started to work with each other, where were you at when we first started?
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting time this year. I've had a lot of transition going on.
Yes.
So a lot of moving parts, a lot of things up in the air, and a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So with that, it's when I met you.
Yes.
And to be honest, it was a difficult time to meet you as well, because when there's a lot of uncertainty, taking on extra things can seem intimidating and can seem not the right move. But actually, during those times is when you really need the help or need to get perspective and clarity.
That makes a lot of sense, and it tells me a lot about what was going on also on your life. Like, I mean, at that point you were still trying to make a lot of decisions, but what would you say was the specific thing that you felt like you wanted to have more clarity on?
I think, I've been in business for a very long time in Singapore, and whenever you are moving on from a business feels like a baby. For anyone who's ever run a business, they're not so difficult to start, but they are difficult to grow, and they're certainly difficult to eventually say goodbye to. And for me, aside from being very pragmatic and having safety or a personal feeling of safety about moving forward, there's also a whole bunch of emotions of years that you've tied up of energy and people connections that you have involved in the business. And how does that all unravel? What does it look like? And how can that energy be preserved? And how can those relationships continue to be relevant in your life? So it does clash a bit on an identity level. It clashes on a financial level. So there's just waves breaking against the rocks, and you really need to step back. Or in my case, that's really why I engaged with you. That was a huge component, because someone who's not right in there, in amongst it, feeling all of these emotions, can just have real clarity and help you navigate this correctly, and also a lot of reframing about what your mindset's thinking.
Yeah, and what I love about what you shared is something that always comes up for me, which is people don't realize, like, what do we mean when we talk about energy and where your energy is being drained. And, when you have a business, like you said, and the business is a baby, and, businesses literally go through the baby stage, the toddler stage, the teenage stage, the adult stage as well. But at each point of your growing a business, your growth of the business, it is taking your energy in different ways. And I think what I love about the work that we did together is you fully embraced that energy can be taken. And when you want to optimize your energy, you want to have success personally and professionally, it can be taken in more ways than just what diet you're on, what exercise you're doing. You were really fully to embrace making decisions in your business, change the transition that you were going through by looking at how it's been impacted by your energy. Yeah. So I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there was something that somebody said to me the other day when they were thinking about joining the concierge program, and it really reminded me of where people are at the beginning. What would you say to somebody who is at the beginning of something that's happening in their life, and they are considering, like, where you were at the beginning of working with me? What would you say to them?
So my take is that the only reason why I'd ever work with someone would be to get perspective.
Yes.
And having known you for a little while before we eventually engaged on this project, I really felt you were someone who had a unique take. You're very in touch with a whole range of emotions that I probably am not quite as in touch with. We call it the masculine, feminine, or call it what you want. It is what it is, and I try to embrace that. So I really wanted to engage on that level just to show me how I could view things differently. And in that situation, I think sometimes these things, it did for me anyway. I didn't expect to, I wasn't looking for anything at the time, any support through this phase, but I think things come together, the meetings happen, or you might even be seeing this, and it's just a coincidence. It just happens to be an interesting time for you that you were going through change or you want change in your life. And that's when it just comes together. So I do try to listen to my gut. And as I found out through the program, that's probably a good thing for me to do. And yeah, it has worked out really well. And of course, it's been a 12-week program, right?
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And I love that you have really embraced this, like this idea that we don't just have one brain. The physical, human, mental brain is the one that we've trained the most, but we have lots of different somatic intelligence of the body. And the best leaders, they will always say, I just had this gut feeling. And sometimes that means that what is logical or on paper isn't always that. And I think the beauty of being able to move through both, and I have the 3 brains with the heart as well, but being able to move through those is what you've done very well, very well. So what would you say to somebody who is considering working with me and being on the health concierge program that maybe doesn't have time or finances to invest? Because that's the 2 things I hear a lot, that if they have an objection, it's usually that.
I feel like these things that you are throwing out, the things that you throw out, this has been my experience with you, and also in the past, whenever there's something that comes up like this, the initial objections that you throw out actually are not only occurring and blocks in the current moment of the current issue that you're trying to deal with, but these issues will be blocks that you throw up across all facets of your life. And I feel one very interesting thing is when you start to move with the current and try not to let these blocks just completely hold you back, and you just give in to the process and go with it and give it a try and be objective afterward, I think that's when you unlock different facets of your energy and your being. And it makes, and as well, you get a whole bunch of really good perspective and ideas and context and learning with what you provide. And when you look back, it wasn't as scary and it wasn't as big a issue as you originally made it out to be in your head. So money, it's a block. A resourceful person will get the money. Time, if it was important enough, you will make the time. So there's really, these are just stories that we're telling in our head, and we need to move past them if it truly feels deep down that you resonate with the message and you genuinely feel that this is something that can just add perspective to you and make you more.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Anna. I think I just want to say that, I have my own personal goal to help as many heart-centered leaders to optimize their energy so that they can be of service to humanity. And it's been really my pleasure to work with you because you are a prime example of somebody that just wants to do good in the world. Like, you have such an amazing value of integrity that if there is a product, a service, anything that you're offering, and there are multiple of those that exist, I feel like you are the type of leader that people want to be working with in the future because there is so much more alignment and good intention and integrity and value in what you do. And so for me, it's always my honor to be able to work with someone like you because this is what the world is looking for. These are connections. This is how you do business and the relationships and how you care for the people that you do relationships with. That is what people are looking for when they do business, when they do friendships and all of that. So you know, I just want to say thank you also for trusting me in the process. And I'm just like excited to see what happens next for you, and just hope to be a part of your journey in any way, shape or form, any way that I can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And likewise, there were so many little things that have added up apart from the perspective. We touched on nutrition, and part of it is execution. And I was going to say, over the 12 weeks, I haven't been able to execute everything perfectly. But this knowledge is something I can keep coming back to now, and something I can keep really working on a deeper level. But thank you for the vision and that energy, and bringing this to my life. It's been really good.
Beautiful. Okay, well, I'll let you go. I know you've got other meetings scheduled, and I'll say thank you again, Scott.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.